primitive urge, feel the primitive urge, the senses in the air.
Yes.
The fire moves us,
Shake.
the pleasure yearn. Hunger is rage, need is the vision underneath your dress.
Sex. Lust. You.
Sex, lust, you.
Wet.
There's a river,
Love.
our bodies melt. Liquid heat, burning tongues, whisper screaming earth.
Drum.
The pulse, the passion,
Thrust.
so strong and hard. Love and success, twisted, mixed up. Red nails trace the flesh.
Sex. Lust. You.
Sex, lust, you.
Galen Village is the ideal community. But something has gone wrong. What is it that stalks the streets? Why has it come? Where will it strike? Who will be chosen next?
Every time this kid has a dream, somebody in this town dies.
The Incubus, an omen fulfilled. Rated R.
Oh my God, I hate when those omens are fulfilled. It's never a good thing. And welcome back to the second segment of the Drive at Asylum double feature with me, Sam Panico, and our special guest, Joe Zasso. He's back for the second one. So
yes, I am. And I don't care what people say. It's not the Stinkubus.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Who do you know that said that?
Oh, some smart ass friends. It's a good movie, though. Although I will say, though, you have to have a drinking game for the amount of times they say the word sperm.
Yeah.
Like over and over. It's like
You'll be ready for the third segment if you do.
You were talking before we came back on about the exposition scene where Cassavetes lets you know everything that's happened in like the last 3 or 4 years. It was like you should like drink that whole segment if you can make it.
Right.
that whole section, see if you can do it.
I love scenes with all the exposition. I love that.
Oh.
You know, but they best said it in Great Muppet Caper when she goes, "Why are you telling me all this?" She goes, "It's plot exposition. It has to go somewhere."
I love things like that. The moments in those Muppet movies that were meant specifically for the adults.
But Michael Winner does that a lot in his scripts. It's like he'll say, like, "My dear children, who I love as my own." My stepchildren, who I love as my own daughter, Ginevra, whose father died in the war. You know, it's like you said this all in one sentence, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just to hammer that home so we don't have to figure it out for ourselves, you know.
I like Michael Winter's movies where it's like, Becca had never seen Death Wish, and we were watching, and she's like, I really like that girl. I'm like, you probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't like any women connected to Charles Bronson in these movies. It's not going to end well for them ever.
No.
Like, especially like I think we were watching 4 or 5. I'm like, she's going to blow up in a car.
Right? Deborah Rathen, they just let her go down the hill. It's like,
yeah.
It's like being in Sidney Prescott's life for any reason.
Right?
Sidney Prescott, you're going to get slashed.
Yeah. I really like.
Are you ready to see the new Scream, or are you not looking forward to that one?
I'm not a fan of Screams, but Bill likes. Are you going to see it?
No,
I probably will. I still don't understand the last one.
Yeah,
everyone has explained it to me over and over again. I still don't get it. But the only thing I remember was I made the mistake of getting those seats that move and shake,
Oh,
and it was fine for 5 minutes. It was fun, but then after a while, it was like driving with my mother. I was like, stopping on the brakes. She's stopping on the brake every 2 seconds. It's like I'm not enjoying this.
I saw one of the Avengers movies, and like in a scene when they stab somebody, they did a little like tss, like when the sound hit happened, little spray came out and hit me in the face. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
with the blood in the movie. I don't need this.
With a feel of vision, where that was,
Oh yeah. That's
Tracy, I think they figured if they made that puppet scream nonstop, you wouldn't notice that it was a puppet. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh. My favorite part of this movie is when all the weightlifters are trying to get out of that wall, and he just start throwing stuff at it. And finally, Bill said it. It's like Bobby Rhodes is like, nothing worked. Let's try a plant. He just throws the plant at it, and nothing happens again. Amazing.
Was he the one that said, "Shit, another door"?
Yeah.
Let's find the emergency exit. Well, obviously, if the first one is a brick wall,
Someone tries to drive a car through. It's like there's no getting out of this building.
That's what you get for
double pane, bulletproof. They say
this movie speaks out against technology. It's an anti-technology film,
right?
It's anti-artificial intelligence.
Mm.
Well, look what they do with their technology. They have neon lights and things, and strobe lights that go on for no reason.
I couldn't understand why those lights were flashing, because I don't think neon reacts that way. I could be wrong. I never saw a neon sign that reacted that way, and it was demonic. That's the only explanation.
I guess, that's all. Yeah, probably.
What is this movie?
Like parties, and this movie did not make me want to go to any more parties. I think I've made the right decision several times in my life not to go to parties.
They play Hang the DJ.
Yeah. It was a drag, her party.
Yeah.
I still want to know how what they were doing when they were like pressing the buttons. Somehow they were like pressing a file against it, and it was making it, go up and down or something. What were they doing? How do you do that?
That's one of those fictitious technology moments in Italian horror cinema, like the Four Flies on Grey Velvet.
Oh, the
et cetera, et cetera.
The bullshit science of that movie that you don't believe that you can capture what the iris doesn't capture the last minute image it sees, Bill? That can't really happen?
It can't. And you also can't take an eyeball from a fossil and extract fluid from it and put it under a microscope and see illustrated images of prehistoric Earth. And yet it happened.
And it looks like a black and white photo. That's the thing. It looks so sharp. It's not like little glimpses. It's like, you just took a picture.
You mean you can't grow a chicken that just looks like an egg, that like in Death Laid an Egg? You can't make a super science chicken?
No. Only in the logic of Italian movies you can do that.
But this one moves really fast, and much like Demons, there's not any boring talky moments in either one of these movies. We talked about the punks maybe take some people out of the first one, but I really like this move. This moves so fast, and it's like there's always something cool happening, and it's like right when it starts getting slow. Hey, here's a puppet demon. It comes out of nowhere. It works.
It's a good party movie. I mean, it's the kind of thing you need. Like Return of the Living Dead is a good party movie, except for one little moment where it's talking. Something's always going on. You can't have long stretches of people walking around and investigating. It has to be like that. Otherwise, you're going to lose everything. That's
very much action films. They're like the Evil Dead on high octane, because the Evil Dead does have talking moments. I guess Demons does too, but I think Demons movies move at an even faster pace than the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And they got more going on. They got heavy metal. They got all kinds of things happening, to give it more life and more zest.
Yeah, but I also like that it's like that motorcycle's there and the katana, and you're like, someone's got to ride this motorcycle before the end of Demons and fight people with the sword, and it's like, and it goes higher from there. It gets bigger from there.
Taught me that humans can hang from elevator and rip up their shirts to make. Reading this comment from Mike Justice.
Yeah, there's some pretty impressive acrobatics going on in this film, especially when Sally does that slide down the rappelling cord after them. She
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like gets mixed up in it. That's pretty impressive. That stunt.
it's like she was climbing upside down. You know, like wow, in her dress that the sleeves that go back and forth. You know,
And a lot of mannequin death in this movie too, which is important to me. So one inside, one outside.
people fall off and they go thud and bang bang
Yeah.
bang bounces.
Yeah,
I do like that one shot where they're going. You had it on your trailers. I think it was when they're pointing up at the staircase and everybody's like looking down and it just starts spinning and twirling and everything is moving and that was effective. Little things like that.
I love that.
I like what they did with because they didn't use real contacts in this. They just had like silver pieces over their eyes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the actors couldn't see, but they were like coming up the stairs or running down the hallway. But it just reflected, and it was a cheap effect, but it really worked. Yeah.
This movie's an anti-physical fitness movie too, Bill. If all those people in the gym are ineffectual when up against went up against the demons. Like they're good with working out on machines, but that's it.
Yeah,
oh, muscle, no brains, boy.
They were in a lot better shape than Bobby Rhodes was in that film.
Right.
He was a natural leader. He stood up. He's the one that stood up on the car and went, "Quiet, quiet."
So he's reenacting his Demons 1 scene. Let's find the emergency exit. But hearing his real voice, it's so funny. He probably was like, "Quiet, quiet."
I wonder what the name of the actor is who dubbed him, and it was clearly the same actor in both the films.
Yeah, it was just like a Mr. T sound-alike, you know. It was very good. That stuff like that. That's what I loved about the first Demons. Just this mixture of characters at this screening. You had like you had like a 70s pimp and his girls. You had like a woman dressed like something out of Metropolis with her blind companion. I mean, it's like just this weird mix of things. It just led to the fun because they were playing classical music while everybody was walking around. They had like posters from Creep Show and No Nukes.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. It was just an odd hodgepodge. See, nowadays, if somebody was going to do that kind of a movie, they're going in too conscientiously. They're trying to make everything campy and funny and interesting, and I don't think it works as well.
Yeah.
Do you think the original Apartment zombie horror film was Shivers, aka They Came From Within?
Yeah. I think that's what Demons 2 took a lot from.
Yeah.
Which I prefer the title They Came From Within. I prefer that one.
You're in the right place because I know Bill always prefers the alternate titles whenever they're said.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I said one the other night that was like super deep, and you just started giggling as soon as I said it. I can't remember what it was.
Sorry, I prefer the Parasite Murders myself. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The Parasite Murders.
Like when people say Beyond the Door 2, even though we know it's shock, it's Beyond the Door 2 for us. That's how I discovered it.
That's my favorite thing in the world.
I'm wondering if anybody in the chat that saw this for the first time, what they thought of it. Hopefully, you guys dug it as much as we do, and enjoyed it.
I still want to know what Jacob did to Sally. It's like nobody will just level with us.
Since we were talking about it, I dug this up.
Oh man,
I'm a big fan of the Brood. I like the Brood. I like Rabid, but then they started getting. I don't know. I rediscovered Scanners recently, which I like. It was more of a drama, I thought.
Yeah,
I love the Brood too. You came to the right place. And also Rabid. I think Rabid is probably my favorite Cronenberg. Maybe either that or this one.
I think I stopped at Dead Ringers, and then I didn't like the direction he was taking after that. I was like, I mean, a lot of people like his movies. It just, it was getting too way out there for me. Like Naked Lunch, I didn't really like. A lot of people do, or Existenz, I thought it was too, I like it a little trippy, not too much.
I really enjoyed his latest, Crimes of the Future.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of I don't know. It was the kind of movie that doesn't have a satisfying story, but it's all about what he's actually showing you about his vision of what's in the future for mankind. And it was pretty plausible, I have to say. Like, the things that he came up with seem silly now. Like, he came up with scanners. There was a drug on the market that gave everybody, like, a medical condition. And then we see things like that all the time now. And virtual reality and things like that. He was always interested in those concepts. So it's cool to see what he's doing, returning to that. I know he hasn't been doing movies like that for a while, so that was fun.
Yeah, what was the one I Spider? I thought that was it was okay, but it was just like it was all about the performances. Really, I thought that was good, but that's what it seemed to be.
I haven't
That's an
seen
oldie
it.
already.
Have you guys seen Infinity Pool?
No, I heard mixed things. I heard some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah, I hated Possessor so much that I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like it, so I just didn't like it. It just didn't work for me. But I'm going to give it a chance. Hopefully, it's good. So we'll see. So I usually end up liking director's second films way better. I like Under the Silver Lake more than It Follows, like that kind of thing. So it's like it depends on the person.
I'm reading the comments as we speak here. Let's see.
Yeah. I'm really kind of surprised that Demons 2 is looked on as inferior to the first one. I know we talked about this in the first segment. And I don't know, like I enjoy this movie as much as I enjoy the first one. It doesn't, you guys were right, it doesn't go so far over the top. There's nothing as spectacular as a helicopter falling through the ceiling, but there are other interesting touches, like that chase scene with the little boy in the vents and Sally coming in there and everything. You're like, so that's very well done. And I love the lights in the shadow and that.
Creepy and such. I think it's because Demons 2 is more contained and it's more, like I said, it's not as off the wall and experimental and all that. It's just kind of a more straightforward horror movie in the same place.
Plus, we've seen it before. It's a sequel, so they're doing pretty much the exact same thing as they did in the original. So the surprise element is gone in Demons 2. You know what's going to happen.
Also, the way that in Demons, in the way in Demons that the mask turns Rosemary into the demon, and that's how it happens. Like this, I like the idea of the demon coming out of the TV in this one. That's I think that's a really cool way that they come out. But yeah, once you get to that point, it all becomes people getting chased through different rooms by demons, and it's pretty.
Yeah, it's just good. But I like the building setting. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, like you said,
the throwing plant through the windows, and they're not breaking. That's where it gets a little silly.
Yeah.
It's too effective at being completely secure. It's become a prison, a tomb.
It's a statement about technology, like you said. Yeah, you become a prisoner of your own luxuries.
If this was made today, everybody would have all their homes would all be wired, and they would be talking to them. They would have Alexa in all the rooms. But Mom's house is like that, and it's Alexa never answers her. It's like she'll ask it questions, and it just ignores her, or it gives the wrong answer, and she gets frustrated. She's like, "Why don't you have yours hooked up?" I'm like, "Well, situations like this are why."
He starts going, "Oh, Alexa, shut up."
One of Becca's friends, her boyfriend had Alexa and whatever the Apple one is in the same room, and he was showing us. He was like bragging about his house. And he was showing us how the lights work. And we went in one of the rooms, and after we left, the Alexa and the iPhone were talking to each other, and lights were just going on and off. Things were turning on because they were like interacting with each other. I'm like, yeah, I've seen enough horror movies. I don't need this in my.
It's like Demon Seed.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I don't need this. Yeah, there's a fine line between Electric Dreams and Demon Seed, and I don't want to be on the Demon Seed side of it.
Yeah. Moles, may that be your name? Remember that?
So, anything else you guys want to say about Demons 2 before we move on to our second feature of the evening, the Incubus?
What else can I say
Closing
about
thoughts?
Demons 2? There's got to be some line, some particular line I always say over and over again. So the ones who played the parents of the little boy, it's like, first of all, they don't even look like they belong with that little boy. They look too blonde. Just their dialogue was in another movie altogether. It's like they were all out of focus. So it's like things like that. Even like the scene with Lamberto going through the like the Oktoberfest, just to stay out of the apartment while the kids. It's like, where is this coming from? I guarantee the woman who played his companion was probably like the costume designer on the set or something, and she just, had a little part because they couldn't get anybody else.
Too bad it wasn't Laura Gemser.
Right? I can't believe she was the costume designer of Troll 2. That's how that happened.
I think I talked about it last week. I like the Joe D'Amato softcore movies where she shows up for like a minute and like blows away every other actress in it, and you're like, why didn't you just keep her for the whole movie? And it's like she was just doing cameos and she didn't really want to be in the movie. She was like makeup on this movie, and we just made another girl for a scene. Man.
I think that's how she started, but she was just a model, and then it just like one thing led to another. I don't think she meant to,
Yeah.
But what an adventure to go from not really wanting to do this to doing becoming sex goddess of the with a passport.
Yeah. I agree with Darren. I wonder how the cult felt about Rain being the last song in it. It's pretty wild. Like we've seen all this destruction, and there's this like hopeful song at the end. I guess it works. So.
It did have a happy ending, unlike the first one, which ended with apocalypse.
Yeah.
Right.
This suggested that they had foiled the demons from escaping that cursed apartment building. Although, what's going to happen when people go in there?
Right. And I mean, and here I am thinking like a New Yorker, like, and look at all those apartments. I mean, they're covered in slum. I'll still take it, if the price is right.
The price just went down now.
It's like, what do they call that? I forget the name, the term, the real estate term. It's like it's a distress or something like that.
Yeah. The HOA is going to be really pissed about all that,
Oh.
A $50 deposit will be just fine.
$50, and they're going to have to fix all the electric in that building.
I'm telling you, it doesn't work.
Oh,
that's like Hedalez said. We were showing Barefoot in the Park. They said, if you could get the ultimate apartment for $100 a month, but it was a 15-floor walk-up, would you take it? And we all kind of go, I don't know, but like you'd have to limit your movements, but or not carry furniture up the stairs every day,
Moving in would be a bitch. I'd burn everything before I'd move out.
God, you can't even have a forklift. It's that high.
Okay, so go ahead, Sam.
You're ready for the Incubus, Bill?
I think so. Yeah, it's been a long time since I saw this movie, so that's one of the reasons I wanted to show it on the show and have other people watch it, because this is another one of those sleeper movies. You don't really think about it a whole lot, or at least I didn't. I didn't pay much attention to it when it was current, and then you go
forgetting
back.
It's Canadian.
Yeah, it is.
It's director John Ho. Is that how you say it, or Hough?
Yeah, how something like that.
He's got the kind of directing resume that I love. First of all, Twins of Evil, which is a great late Hammer, the sleazy side of Hammer, when Hammer's like, we should probably just stop hinting and just start showing stuff. As well as Legend of Hell House, which I really dig. Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, both Witch Mountain movies. The Watcher in the Woods, The Triumphs of a Man on Horse, and an HBO favorite, Biggles Adventures in Time, and American Gothic, which is another movie not enough people talk about, which I really like. And
I always love that thing with the swing.
Yeah, and Howling
That's
Forest,
mean.
Original Nightmare. What a crazy career of movies he did. But
it makes sense. He's British director, which makes sense because Canada's a British colony, so that's how they got to be above the stay in their. You don't need the two actors, in other words, the two tier.
Yeah, and I think Incubus is interesting. It fits into the occult 70s, but it's a different setting. we're used to like these 70s occult movies outside the Devil's Reign being in urban settings, and this is kind of in a small town. And as you said, we find out everything about Cassavetes' character. This is another movie that you can tell these are the Fury, this movie, other ones where Cassavetes is just earning money to make his own movies.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only reason. That's why he would do a Fury or whatever.
What did Vivica
And then he died
Lindfors
shortly
say
after
about
this,
it?
Well,
Vivica Lindfors, what did she say about doing horror movies?
She goes, so I could afford to work with a genius. Why isn't John Cassavetes always has an eternal grin on his face? Like the whole movie always has this little slight grin. It's like it's stuck.
I love the last film he did another movie after, but the last one that he wrote and directed, Love Streams, which is a Cannon movie, is really good. And there's also a documentary shot at the same time. And there's a moment in it where they kept unplugging the fridge because they shot it in their house. And so they keep unplugging the fridge to plug in the lights for the cameras. And his wife comes out and flips out in the entire crew about how they ruined all the milk and they ruined all her food. So there's a note on the fridge for the rest of the documentary. It says, "Don't fucking unplug this." And she signed it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think of Gina Rollins as being that mean. I always think of her as being kindly cocoon woman not like, someone tough enough to live with John Cassavetes for that long.
I worked on a film once where I was doing the catering besides the producing, and they were this is when they were shooting on film, and they put film stock in the freezer or something like that. And they ended up taking all the groceries out and letting them spoil. I was ready to kill somebody. I was like, I know this is your film stock, but you don't just do,
The worst is when you rent a place from somebody. We rented a place for a commercial, and they weren't supposed to be in the house, and we repainted their entire living room. And the owner came back in, and I remember someone said, "What do you think?" And he goes, "Fuck," and then just walked out of the house. I'm like, cool, this is going to work out really well. Us shooting in his house. Like, you signed the deal to let us paint the room. I mean,
it's called absence fee.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not supposed to be here. But, such is life. The other thing I like about this movie is it's got some interesting people in it. John Ireland's in it, who's, his career was all over the place. He's in I Saw What You Did, which is a movie I really like, and also Satan's Cheerleaders. And this, like someone said before, this movie is grimy and dark, and there's something going on in this town, and there's something that may have happened in this town for a long time with these demon-related assaults and murders. Like, bad things happen. This also has, I'm not going to spoil it, I swear to God, this has a shocker ending, as all 70s occult movies must have. Post-Carrie, they all must have that, something that's like, oh, fuck. Not really, we didn't really, I'm not going to say anymore.
Yeah.
I'll end up saying it.
And I think her name Helen something, the one who plays the aunt or the mother of it. That's the best role Piper Laurie never had.
Wow, yeah. I can see it now.
Ray Russell, who wrote this movie, also wrote X, the Man with the X-Ray Eyes, Mr. Sardonicus for William Castle, and The Premature Burial, the Roger Corman version. So there's a little bit of stuff here. Mr. Sardonicus is one of my favorite Castle movies because that's the one with the card, the thumbs up and thumbs down card, where the audience is supposed to vote if he survives or not. And I can 100% tell you there's only one ending filmed. He didn't film the ending. No one survives.
It is, it's a William Castle-ish gimmicks, if you like those,
My favorite is when Castle first started. His first big gimmick was the Coward's Corner, where you could leave the movie if you wanted to, and you got your money back. And the first night, everybody went to see it, and then they stayed around to watch it again, and then they got their money back on the second show. So they really got to see it twice and not pay. And he's like, well, we got to do something. So he went insane, and he built this yellow stripe that went down the theater, and then there were people that would throw stuff at you when you left. So he made it so embarrassing that nobody would want to leave. You basically almost got tarred and feathered as you left the theater. And he's like, we finally made the money we wanted to with the Coward's Corner. And I'm like, yeah. He just won. Just every movie had to have a gimmick, and I love it. Like, that's charging him even up to the end with, what's the one with the cockroaches that shoot fire out of their ass, Bill?
Bug.
Oh, Bug?
Yeah, he named a cockroach after the movie. Like, they found a new cockroach, and he got it named after. And they also insured one of the hero cockroaches for $200,000, which is okay. I don't know how that makes me want to go see the movie, but They
He
did.
wasn't able to do it, but the gimmick that he wanted was going to be something that would be installed under certain theater seats that would brush up against your pant legs like a windshield
Oh yeah,
wiper,
yeah.
and it would make you think that bugs were crawling on you. And unfortunately, that never happened.
I love
Oh,
it.
they would have chaos. You have people screaming
Could
and
you
running
imagine?
out.
Oh, so many screams.
In one of John Waters' books, he said the same theater that played The Tingler during the afternoon, they played The Sound of Music as a matinee, and he knew where the Tingler seats were. So one of the projectionists would shock the old ladies that went to see Sound of Music during the day. And he said there were like a whole bunch of nuns, and they just kept buzzing them. He was up on top doing it. He said it's the best time he's ever had watching The Sound of Music.
These are a few of my favorite things. Yeah. They just wanted them to do it again and again.
And not stop until they said.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
I think we should do the cocktail a little bit earlier in this segment. What about you guys? And then we'll come back and we'll look at some newspaper ads. So
Awesome.
Here comes Robot Sam. Take it away.
Welcome to the second drink recipe, which is satanic harassment. This drink has a lot of stuff in it, so get ready. Becca asked me before we had our little production meeting, before we made this video, and she said, "What's this movie about?" And I told her, and she said, "Well, I don't think we have any props for that." You know, my mom told me when I was young, don't ever have a Ouija board or a demon dick in your house. So there's no gigantic demon dicks. This is a demon dickless household. But anyway.
So we have no props.
No props. We're just gonna make the drink. We're just gonna be professional about it. So anyway, this has a lot in it. So we're gonna start with an ounce of Absolute Citron. If you can't find that, just any citrus vodka works, or you can do vodka with a little bit of like a quarter ounce of lemon juice. We're gonna go with Midori, or we can't find Midori in Pennsylvania right now, so I'm using melon de Kuiper. Up next is the Holy Hand Grenade, which is Chambord. This is the kind of thing that your grandparents have, and you're like, wonder what that tastes like. And you drink it, and you're like, oh, I don't ever want to drink when I grow up.
Isn't it raspberry?
It's raspberry, tell him Cubby. Cubby loves it. Cubby's like, don't talk bad about Chambord. Up next is our juice blend, which is pineapple and orange juice. And there's a lot of that. There is 2
ounces of each.
Yeah, 2 ounces of each. Then finally, let's take it south of the border with just an ounce of margarita mix, which is probably more American than Mexican, whatever. This is an American movie. This ain't like Demonoid. This is how Americans see demon assaults in this movie tonight. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Just shake this up. No demon dick needed. We're just going to do it sans demon dick. All right.
Why that sound like it's going to explode?
What has a demon in it?
Just take the top off.
I can't. Oh, this is embarrassing. Let's just take this top off. Let's just straighten it.
You talked about the demon dick, and this is what
It
happened.
comes back to haunt you.
We'll get your ice later. Quit shaking that. I feel like something bad's going to happen.
I know. Don't you think like the top could fall off at any minute?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's not going to.
And I know you, so.
That looks very demonic. It looks like kind of Prince of Darkness-y, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, your God will not save you. Oh, no. And it sprays all over my face. Anyway. Satanic harassment. Pazuzu. Let's take a sip before we go back to the movie. Let's see what it tastes like. Man, it's sugary, but I like it. See you in a little bit.
I love the part where it's sprayed all over your face, Sam.
Dude, as soon as I said it, that's why I paused. I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. But I said it, and we're here. You also paused it on me with the derpiest face at the end, where I'm like,
That's just where it ends. I didn't pause it.
or is that just my face? That's my face. I can just yell, that's your face. So yes, that's my face.
And you come back to your third segment, and you're like, I'm not drunk.
All right, so Pazuzu, to all of you who joined us here on the second segment, we're glad to see you. And again, special thanks to our guest, Joe Zasso, who's with us tonight, hanging out watching 2 demonic freakouts. Thank you, Joe.
Welcome. I'm always happy to do that.
Don't forget to go to Joe's site and also to go to Vinegar Syndrome and grab his new release as well that is out. That's
Guilty Pleasures.
Yeah. So super excited.
Hey.
So congratulations.
Right on.
I'm excited to see these films come out, and great formats. It's wild seeing, especially like shot on video stuff and like older films like this come out and like really.
I didn't think people would want to watch them. That's what's amazing.
Yeah.
But it was very surprising because I was saying how my 80s movies are going to be coming out in June. That's all I can tell you for now. But I noticed that you had done an article on BNS, and I said, "Oh, somebody who didn't know about the release was just watching these on his own accord." That just shocked me. Like, wow, thank you.
Yeah, it was funny because you said like, "What do you know?" And I was like, "I just like the movies."
I was like, "It's like why am I watching them?" But I always say the one thing all of those movies taught me more than anything else, the one lesson I got, it had nothing artistic, but it taught me early on how to prepare for plan B or plan C should things not go as planned. And that's that to this day I take that with me. It is the first thing that taught me how to just okay, you hear out in the other side of the room that somebody is going to be late, that it's starting to rain or whatever the story is, you have to start doing something else at the same time to stay on schedule. It's the same thing like in the morning. If I know my the subway's late and I'm going to miss a train or something like that, I just know it's okay. Put plan B into, get that going. And that just triggers. So that was the biggest lesson I got from all these movies, even though it has nothing to do with art.
Yeah. And you also have a musical too, which is pretty awesome too. Right?
Yes. It's the one that Variety actually reviewed it, and they said it was well-meaning. Well-meaning, yes.
That's what amazed me. But you got a whole gospel choir at the end of it. It's like when that happened, I was like, when did this happen? Yeah. And
we have divas singing, and there's actually, in fact, there's one musical number that was cut from the movie because it was so out of sync. It was just a guy singing Above Flames, a song called Hellfire, which may end up on the I think they're going to release. They were going to do an LP, or they may still do an LP, but I think it's going to be a CD that comes with it with Lost Music. Tim Fry, the composer, who's also he's in Nazareth, but he's still a Philly. He's a Pennsylvania boy. So, there's a song in the movie called Pennsylvania, which I literally have to sing to myself if I want to remember how to spell it for some reason. I go PENNSYLV. It's like to this day. Yeah, that was 1989 at this time. So this is about 34 years ago. It's like,
wow,
Lord. It's funny. I hadn't seen that movie in a long time. And it was just jarring because I used to see movies like, maybe 5 years after they were made. But now it's been so many years that I just couldn't believe the hairstyles were so different. I looked different. Everybody looked different. It was just like shocking. It was like be waking up from a coma.
Yeah.
It was like that's what happens. I think what a difference more than 20 years makes. Then it's like you start to really see the difference, so.
The one thing I will say about the first is like, you did it's low tech, but you got the creep show match shots of the comic book pages to live action. You did it within a video camera. Like it's really close.
It wasn't as good as them, certainly not. But at least it was
a huge budget.
Close. It was drawing, with markers, but
yeah. But I think that's like there's a lot of imagination in that. How old were you when you did the first one? You said 12 when you did the first
I was 13 actually. 13
yeah.
And then 14, 15, and then and there's still there's another one I did which is going to be on this called Maligno, which is my Phenomena / Eyes of Laura Mars meets an ABC after school special.
What's that about?
It's basically it's a plot of Phenomena, basically, more or less, without the bugs, except with a teenager that she's kind of clairvoyant, so she sees her friends getting murdered, and it's got the same kind of Argento, camera angles and like a Phenomena-ish kind of theme and all that.
Is there a maggot pit in it?
There's no maggot. Well, actually, there actually is a part where this. At the end, of course, she's in someone's basement, the killer's house, and she finds her classmates in there, and she picks up like a rubber hand that's got worms on it. They're real maggots. It's like until she finds the sandblaster to thwart the killer. So I was like, whatever was lying around the room was
Hey, that sounds fantastic.
But, you had a headmistress of the school that was something out of Suspiria / Phenomena. So it was all, but it was done like it was done with modern teenagers in like a Catholic high school building during the summer. So it's like people were very blasé, like oh, have you heard she was killed? Oh no, now what? It's like it's awfully blasé. So like those kind of things.
Pat knew things, and then she was killed.
The
It's
one
like,
I've discussed
oh, what are you gonna do? It's like
Sorry, go ahead.
What are you saying?
I said we've discussed many times the business plan of the school from Suspiria. How do they make money when they're just there to kill students? Like, you know what I mean? Like somehow you would think they have to like make tuition money, yet they don't care.
They said they gain great personal wealth by injury to others. So I guess there is. I didn't realize that Barbara Magnolfi plays a witch recruiter. I guess she was. She really, that was the point.
Yeah.
I hated the remake, or we want to call it reimagining. You might even talk about that, but
no.
I was talking about how people are blasé about death. I love Damien Omen too, and I love there's a part where Lee Grant is talking to this guy. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your reporter friend." He goes, "Got hit by a truck on a deserted highway." She goes, "What are you gonna do? Like have a hot dog? What are you gonna? Oh well."
I think what I like about Damien too is like in the first one, if because they didn't. It's not even in the original trailers. There's something wrong with them, but you don't know what it is. You know what I mean? And in the second one, you already know, but as people find out, they get wiped out with these like huge set pieces, and that's kind of what I like.
Why? I mean, if this force can make those things happen, why can't it just ensure that what it wants to happen will happen without?
It wants to kill people.
Well, like I said, the whole thing is that the Antichrist is supposed to be infiltrating himself quietly, surreptitiously into things. But how can that be if you have explosions and elevators that chop people in half and make such a spectacle? You're going to draw attention to yourself. But I always think of Omen 2 as a disaster movie, because really it is. It's like an all-star cast, and the threat is him, but it plays like a disaster movie. It's like people show up to give their 2 cents, whatever accomplished actor says a few lines, collects a paycheck, and then zap.
Yeah.
So the Incubus ad campaign. Let's look at some images.
Dreams and name of the designer.
Here we go. This is from London.
He is the destroyer. It looks very subtle, but really it's not a subtle movie.
Hardly,
it's classy. Look how nice that like the font from the Incubus and that little widget under it. It's like this is going to be a Merchant Ivory kind of.
Yeah,
it's like an elegant horror.
Yeah,
this is the real sequel to The Exorcist.
Yeah,
clearly.
Romantic comedy or The Incubus? What did you pick?
What's your date night movie?
It all depends on what your date wants.
I understand Officer and the Gentleman and Friday the 13th 3 opened the same day, and I think they both made the same amount of money each. So I guess it was a coin toss for dates.
Personally, you know which one I'd rather go see, but I'm game for whatever anyone else wants to see at the movies. I'll go. Here's the LA ad. This is the big opening of the Incubus. So look how many prints there had to have been of
right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's a good little thriller, but it's no better than the average, like it just like the video of the week that we got released, but they made it like an event.
Yeah.
But that's good marketing, I have to say. Got people in there.
I like this ad campaign a lot with that shadowy figure on a landing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that always captivated me when I was young, and I would look at these ads in the newspaper. It's like, ooh, that looks scary. And why? There's no reason for it to look scary. It's just, a blurry image.
Kill and Kill Again, too. What a weird double feature.
Oh, yeah, that's why I included this one, because Kill and Kill Again in it. Weird, huh? This is a 1981 film. That's the date it has on IMDb, but I think it wasn't released theatrically until 82.
Well, it's funny. It's a good tie-in. You have Demons 2, which is known in Italy as Demone due l'incubo ritorna, which means incubus, nightmare, basically.
Nightmare, yeah.
That's what incubus means.
Man, I know why you picked this one, Bill.
Don't Go in the House. One of the most disturbing murder scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Is that the one with the fire?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the one. But
And
what about the sorceress in Galaxy of Terror?
I mean,
I
that's
saw that in the theater when I was a kid. That was a mean one.
So
Yeah.
understated too.
Worms. Oh gosh.
yeah.
And it was like, it was like Joni's in this movie from Happy Days.
Of course she'll live, right?
Man,
She
the
didn't.
challenge and eye for an eye. There's a lot going on at the Del Rey Twin, Bill.
These theaters,
Early Bird Special. My goodness.
these are from the Fort Lauderdale newspaper, and I clipped so many ads from these theaters because I just love those graphics, and they were the same every week.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous newsprint images. I love it. What
Trick
about
or
this?
treats.
Oh man, I like this double feature.
I'm just glad they didn't call it the ultimate nightmare, because there's no horror movie that's the ultimate nightmare. They're all, and that's a tough one.
And what about that co-feature, Death House?
Yeah.
We know what that is.
Is that
A message to Darren Kersey to answer his question, how you say demon dick in Italian, the cazzo demonio.
Ah, I'm so glad you knew that.
Well, I'm making myself useful.
is Death House Silent Night, Bloody Night?
Yes.
Yes, the canon release of it.
AKA Night of the Dark Full Moon.
Oh man. And that's on my. If you go to my LinkedIn, the ability to pull out this shit, that's on my LinkedIn. If you would like to hire me.
This is from Miami. I chose this because I love these sort of cookie cutter these templates that they had for the ad layouts, and they would just cut the press book apart until it fit inside of it. I think it's
Is that Palm Springs, as in Palm Springs, California?
No, this is from Miami.
Oh. I'm gonna say it's not. I like Palm Springs, but it doesn't look like a place that would have many theaters, let alone one.
This is from the Longleaf in South Carolina. They were a great theater that showed all sorts of Italian imports, like strange, almost obscure films, and they presented them as the latest horror craze. I love the ads from the Longleaf. Of course, they showed the Incubus.
You're right. There had to be a ton of proofs of this. Prints of this. I mean.
Here's another great lineup. Oh my God! Were we talking about My Bloody Valentine earlier, Joe?
Yes.
One of your faves.
The original one, not this complicated remake they did.
No, they changed.
It's a new movie. I mean, especially when you see the uncut version, it's really nasty. I mean, it's
yeah.
It's harsh. That's why I like about it. I guess I'm a sadist. I'm a Scorpio. We have to be well about the pain.
Oh wow!
Here's the final one. What a bizarre triple.
Andy.
Wow. They just played Incubus and Equinox because it sounds like two bands.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Three bands.
Oh yeah, Halloween. That's right, man. What if you went to the theater and there was just bands playing? You'd be like, oh, I thought we were going to see that Evil Dead ripoff, or it's the other way around. The movie that inspired Evil Dead, Equinox.
That'd still be the best night ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's more than just a gym, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, that's a great triple feature. Now I'm excited to watch the Incubus again. You've done it, Bill.
Being cool.
We found a demon. We've done it. There's no danger.
We found the demon. Look at those teeth. They had some version of it. They played the music on like Vivo Argento, and they were like, "Look at those teeth. Look at those teeth. Look at those teeth." It was like they were repeating it. It was like that is a demon. That they were being very cool and very modern. It's
the Max Headroom influence of repeating phrases.
Right?
Like,
look at those teeth.
Demon.
Didn't take much, I guess, right?
Evil. There's no danger.
Oh man.
I'm getting the link for the Incubus. It's on Tubi.
Right.
So if you want to go get it queued up and get ready.
Sure. Gentlemen, I'm not going to return for part 3 because I'm getting all tired, because I'm getting old. But I want to say I've enjoyed this.
Awesome. We're very happy.
We were so
Come back
excited
again when I have something else to. No, I love these double feature things.
Yeah,
We
we
certainly
would love
hope
to
you
have you
will.
back if you'd like to be back on and do this again.
Yeah.
We'll
And
figure out
before you
something.
go, we'll put up some more images where people can find you. It's joezasso.net is the website.
Right.
And your movie Guilty Pleasures is just going to be released on Vinegar Syndrome.
And then you have the main stores. I mean, I have it on my site now. If you want to get it autographed, you can get them there too. But they're the main ones to go to. It's going to be in stores everywhere, but right now this is the first place to go if you want to get that limited edition slipcover version, which is selling fast.
And also here's
And
one of Joe's books. Yeah, one of his many cookbooks. How many cookbooks have you done so far?
There's 7 actually.
Wow.
And they have a lot of genre stars swap recipes. You get like Lynn Griffin from Black Christmas and Russell Todd from Friday 2. And you got Adrian King from Friday 1 and many people. The one who played Joan Hart, the nosy reporter from Omen 2, Elizabeth Shepard, she gives a bunch of recipes. One for pigeon pie, which is a delicacy in Northern England, but it's fun. It's like I don't know if you've ever heard of a restaurant called Big Daddy's. It's like a very retro, nostalgic place. But if they ever did a cookbook, that's more or less the spirit of this one. It's no threat to Gordon Ramsay. It's not going to ever be, but it's all about fun and user-friendly recipes and just, kind of naughty innuendo here and there, but just in playful, not trashy, but playful. But you won't get any very complicated, lessons on how to soak this or how to twine this. You're just gonna get basics.
That's the kind of cooking that I like. I get a little intimidated, although following a recipe should be pretty easy, right? I always end up screwing something up. So the basic stuff.
Really. First time around, that always happens. I did ask Frank Henenlotter for a recipe, and he said, "Oh, I burn water." So not everybody's up for the job. But then again, I'm the least mechanical person. I can't fix things. I can't. But I cry at the very thought of putting together a piece of furniture from IKEA because it's just like. Meanwhile, my brother can build a house for you, with electricity installed and everything. And I'm like, how do you put this curtain rod up? I end up nailing the curtains to the wall because I just can't. I give up. So everybody has their fortes, in other words.
Well, we certainly thank you for joining us tonight. And before we go to the second movie, The Incubus, here's a photo I found of Pat Cope.
Oh, she's cool. Yeah, she does. She doesn't look like deranged in any way. She just looks like she's a very earthy kind of person.
Theatrical is the first thing that came to mind when I first saw her hair.
Very New York.
She clearly is like really into keeping her hair nice, and there is a photo of her circulating of her in the home in Puerto Rico, and the poor thing, she looks pretty haggard. So I cringe to think what her life was like when she was wandering the streets in Puerto Rico anonymously. But this is exactly how I remember her and how I used to like to see her and talk to her on the streets. Even if she said some things that were a little nutty, it was always kind of nice to see her.
She's harmless, that's how I say. As long as they don't start getting, go ape shit on you in some way, start breaking things or shooting people, then that's no fun anymore.
No,
eccentric is okay. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Or they'll talk your ear off. That's even worse.
So go to Tubi and queue up The Incubus, and we'll be back here after the movie to talk some more about it. And once again, thank you, Joe, for hanging out with us.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I see all these great people. This is where, we keep things alive. So please keep tuning in every week.
All right.
Oh.
So I hope everyone in the chat will come back for the third segment. Never know what you'll see there. Probably just us drunk and talking about shit. So come back.
I'm telling you, we had that sperm, game. The shots. You'll be bombed in the first 5 minutes.
I'm doing it. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going to do it.